I would have said good evening, but it's noon, so good afternoon on Tuesday, November the 12th. 12th. Yes, Tuesday, November. I just looked at that, but I had to reassure myself. So yeah, I just realized, I think this is the next to last video. I don't actually, honestly, I have 2 drawers left down there, with some horror movies in them. And I think, depending on how many are down there, there's still quite a few down there. I'm gonna try to do it in one more video. Maybe 2. 2 at the most. So we're down to the last little pieces of schmorsel here. Today's list of horror movies that we're going to go through going to look like a very tall order. But, because see, good lord, can I even pick, I don't even know where to pick this shit up to where I don't drop it everywhere. Don't drop it. This, I can't even get it all in. It's that, I've never said that before. It's too huge. I can't fit it all in. Usually that's it. Oh, whoa, Lord Jesus. Don't do that to me. La 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 la. It's somewhere there. There it is, I think. Something like that. It's a very, what might seem like a tall order. But if you're paying attention to the basically top half, or if you could see them or whatever, you'll know it's shit we've talked about numerous times already. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I have so many copies, so many different copies of this movie, both on every, not Laserdisc. I don't have any Laserdiscs. I have DVDs, I have Blu-rays, I have motherfucking VHSs of the goddamn Puppet Master movies. Puppet Master 1, Puppet Master 2, and some of these, for some reason, I don't understand, this one has a number written on the bottom of it. I don't know what that means. Puppet Master 3. This one also has a number written on the bottom of it. I don't know what that means. Puppet Master 4. Puppet Master 5. Technically, I guess this is Puppet Master 6, but Curse of the Puppet Master. And then I don't actually know where this falls in the franchise, but Retro Puppet Master. So, once again, now our list is this short. I can fit it next to my face. So, yes, that's... I figured I'd just add those in. We're over and done with it. You've heard me talk about Puppet Master so many times before. I don't need to do it again. But there they are in VHS. VHS form. VHS form. Was that slightly Scandinavian? I don't know what that accent was, but anyway. From the director of The Exorcist, now let's get into some movies that aren't Puppet Master, The Guardian. I actually don't remember this one, but the face is a tree, or, well, there's a face. Oh, there's more than one face. There's a baby in there. Whoa. The Guardian delivers an intensely frightening and unflinching style William Fredrickson is famous for. Okay, that sounds like shouldn't it be the intensely frightening and unscathing whatever. A handsome young couple finds the perfect live-in babysitter to look after their newborn child. It seems like a fairy tale, until ancient supernatural forces turn the couple's dreams into a nightmare. In his first horror film since The Exorcist, Oscar-winning director William Friedkin spins a terrifying tale based on every parent's worst fears. Jenny Seagrove portrays the enchanting guardian who enters the home of new parents, Dwyer Brown and Carrie Lowell, possessing an impeccable references and an affinity for children, but as her true intentions are revealed, the battle for the child's soul begins in this chilling film based on Dan Greenberg's popular novel, The Nene. She was the Flashing girl from Flushing, right? Something like, yeah, I think. She had style. She had flair. She was there. That's how she became the nanny. You should know this story. So, I don't know if I bought this open or opened it and watched it. These are all very interesting questions that I do not have the answers for. It doesn't sound familiar in the least. Probably once again, I can't even watch the movies, the new movies that I've bought, and ask Wreck-It Ralph how long it took me to watch that. Oh my goodness, excuse me. But it sounds interesting enough, and it's The Guardian, if you so wish to check that out, as I suppose I should do. Now, here we have a fairly classic series. I feel like it's well-ish known. I mean, it's not like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or anything like that, but it is the motherfucking Candyman. And if you say his name 3 times, much like Beetlejuice, you have to beware. I know I at least watched the first one, and I did enjoy it. A children's ghost story comes to terrifying life in this gut-wrenching thriller about a graduate student whose research into modern folklore summons the spirit of the dead. Helen Lyle, Virginia Madsen, I didn't realize that was her, laughs when she interviews college freshmen about their superstitions, but when she hears about Candyman, a slave spirit with a hook hand who is said to haunt Chicago's notorious Cabrini Green housing project, she thinks she has a new twist for the thesis. Braving the gang-ridden territory to visit the site of a brutal murder, Helen arrogantly assumes Candyman can't really exist until he appears, igniting a string of terrifying, tragic slayings. But the police don't believe in monsters, and they charge Helen with the grisly crimes, and only one person can set her free. Candyman. The Candyman can. Stand in front of the mirror, turn off the light, and chant the word Candyman 5 times. Then he'll appear behind you, if you believe. Okay, it was 5 times. Oh, Xander Berkeley is also in this. But of course, the classic, Tony Todd, of course, delivering the Candyman to us. From the chilling imagination of Clive Barker. I feel like this is one of those, it's still fairly well known in the horror movie genre, and people have probably heard of it. So I think, even Jeepers Creepers has, what did they make, 4 of those movies now? I didn't see 3, is it just the 3? Because I know there was 2, I own 2 of them. Was the 3rd one on, Sci-Fi Channel, or was it straight to DVD? I don't know. So each of these, monsters has their own little place in the horror movie, world, I guess, or the horror movie Hall of Fame, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. And Candyman can stand up with them, as far as I'm concerned. Now, because there's also Candyman. Farewell to the Flesh. Is that Sinead O'Connor? A compulsive chiller. That's what the Washington Post says. His myth has endured for generations. His legacy is eternal rage. And now he's back with a vengeance. Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh, continues the tale of the phantom-like figure who wreaks a terrible fate upon those who chant his name 5 times while looking into a mirror, and come face to face with grisly death. A victim of unspeakable evil while he lived, the Candyman, Tony Todd, the Crow, has become evil incarnate in his afterlife. This time he haunts the city of New Orleans, where a young schoolteacher named Annie Tarrant, Kelly Rowan, from 187, is struggling to solve the brutal murder of her father. The locals insist that he was slain by the Candyman, but Annie is not convinced, until she unwittingly summons him forth, learns the secret of his power, and discovers the link that connects her and this terrifying monster in one shattering destiny. But can she stop him before he kills again? Co-starring Veronica Cartwright and featuring top-notch special effects, Candyman farewell to the flesh proves that revenge isn't sweet. It's hell. Just ask that guy. I don't believe he's having a good time. And there's also Where Are You Going? Oh, yes. Which I have not watched. Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. Because this is still in its package. So, the Candyman is back, and he's hooked on revenge. As the Day of the Dead celebration approaches the barrio of East Los Angeles, the tortured ghost is intent upon reuniting his family in a bloody reunion beyond the grave. Challenged to confront the horrifying legend of her ancestor, Caroline, Donna D'Errico of Baywatch, must come face to face with the monster who has destroyed her past and now wants to steal her future in this latest electrifying installment of the Candyman series. So, skinny white bitch, right there. And for some reason on the back of the box they made her even skinnier. I don't know what that's all about. But she looks terrified. So, this one obviously I have not watched, like I said, since it's still in the package. But hey, who am I surprising by saying that? No one. Okay, well, from snakes to just some fucked up shit, we have The Cell with Miss Jennifer Lopez. And see, the gold, it's all like shiny. I guess the gold on the sides are shiny as well. See, that guy. All I mainly remember, she's smoking pot at the beginning of it, and there's like this weird-ass fucking cartoon she's watching with like blue people who aren't the Smurfs. I'm pretty sure they were blue people. The internet could probably tell me what that is now. But the horse, it's just one of those weird, like, kind of fucked up movies. Because does she go into the mind? I think she goes into the mind of a killer or something in this. So then it's like there's just it's kind of a mythic kind of weird wasteland where like anything can happen because we're going into someone's mind, and then all these weird things can happen. Like I think they even showed it in the trailers. The horse that like gets cut into sections, and then she like walks through it and like looking at it, all weird. It's not on the back of the box here. In order to save a life, she'll have to risk her own. Jennifer Lopez takes a terrifying journey into the mind of a killer in this chilling, critically acclaimed psychological thriller. When a serial killer, Vincent D'Onofrio, is that how you say his name? Falls into a coma before his last victim can be found, a child therapist, Lopez, must use an experimental treatment to enter his mind and learn his secrets before it's too late. The visually haunting world threatens her very existence when she becomes trapped by the terror inside. Now an FBI agent, Vince Vaughn, must rescue her from the killer's nightmare mind before he, too, is lost to the twisted world forever. And I have bonus footage on this. Check out what Jennifer Lopez, the cast, and filmmakers have to say about making The Cell. So, there's weird guys like that in there. I feel like... And then there's weird things like this, I guess. It's been a while since I watched this movie. But I don't necessarily remember... exactly all the... I kind of remember the horse being cut into sections or whatever and like displayed in glass. I don't necessarily remember if there was as much like fucked up stuff in there. Like if you go to watch switching genres here, The Core, it's more of a science fiction action adventure kind of movie. Because they drill down to save whatever, like the planet is throwing things off, and the only way to save it is to restart the core or something, or reheat the core or something. So they go down through, and there's like crystals, and there's all this different weird stuff in the middle of the earth. They just kind of make up all this random shit. I don't remember necessarily this one making up a whole bunch of stuff, or maybe it wasn't like like the horse sections were kind of weird, but nothing else in the world like lived up to the hype of what I maybe what I wanted the world to be necessarily, because I don't necessarily remember it being maybe as odd as I wanted it to be. But then they kept going back and forth between, you know, are they going to save the girl, and you know she's inside the killer's mind, and blah 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 blah. So it's not like we're there for the whole time. Anyway, of course, even in the core, we went back between the people on the surface and the people in the thing going through the core. So maybe I just didn't get enough of what I wanted from this movie, but I still think it's an interesting enough watch to watch it, because there is some oddly kind of weird stuff in there, and they made at least a second one of these. I don't think Jennifer Lopez had anything to do with it or any of the original cast, but I did not see the sequel to this, so I don't quite know exactly what they did with that. Maybe they pushed the boundaries further or whatever. And there again, like I said, I don't remember this very well, so there might be, more weird, random, fucked up shit in there than I remember. But I would say this one is definitely, it's interesting enough that it's definitely worth a watch. As for Wes Craven's Summer of Fear, we're back to a movie I don't necessarily remember. Linda Blair's in it, from the director of Scream and A Nightmare on Elm Street. Did I say it was Wes Craven's? It is Wes Craven's. It's right there. From famed horror master Wes Craven comes a chilling thriller starring acclaimed actress Linda Blair. When Rachel's cousin Julia comes to live with the family at the farm, unsettling things begin to occur. Casting an alluring spell over everyone she meets, Julia slowly lures everyone away from Rachel. Terrifying instances of the occult begin to take place, forcing Rachel to fight for survival against what is revealed to be a horrifying demonic presence. There again, don't necessarily remember this movie. It was actually on Freeform. It was called Dead of Summer. I remember Dead of Summer. It was a show, and it was actually really good. But Summer of Fear, I don't necessarily recall anything about this. But it's Wes Craven and it's Linda Blair. So, I mean, I guess, you've got a lot of, historical talent there. And speaking of the nanny, Fran Drescher, wake up, is actually in this. She's right there. Is she right there? Yes. Fran Drescher is right there. Or was I pointing at John something? There. Fran Drescher. She's right there. So, hey, she was there. Now, this one was interesting. I do recall the first movie being interesting enough. Hollow Man. They have since made a couple sequels, or at least one. Haven't seen it. I did see this one and I barely remember it. What would you do if you were invisible? How far would you go? After years of experimentation, Dr. Sebastian Kane, a brilliant but arrogant and egotistical scientist working for the Defense Department, has successfully transformed mammals to an invisible state and brought them back to their original physical form. Determined to achieve the ultimate breakthrough, Kane instructs his team to move on to Phase 3, human experimentation. Using himself as the first subject, the invisible Kane finds himself free to do the unthinkable, but Kane's experiment takes an unexpected turn when his team can't bring him back. As the days pass, he grows more and more out of control, doomed to a future without flesh as the Hollow Man. Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth Shue, and Josh Brolin star in this intense thriller filled with extreme suspense, terrifying twists, and incredible special effects. Also, don't miss these other great films starring Kevin Bacon: Wild Things, A Few Good Men, and Flatliners. At least one of those might be comparable to, I guess, a horror movie with a Hollow Man in it. Think you're alone? Think again. He's right behind you. So, I do remember this being interesting enough for a watch, because then it's like, oh no, he's invisible. He's invisible. And he's like, doing all of these crazy bad things and going more and more crazy as time goes on. So, as I said, I haven't seen the sequel. Don't know anything about that. Barely know anything about this one. But it was interesting enough for a watch, anyway. This one is one I own the special edition VHS of this. Wasn't very popular at the time. Still don't think it is very popular, but it's one of those movies that everybody didn't really like, but I did. And it was End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger, a non-stop action-packed thrill ride. End of Days. I guess I was trying to show off that it's kind of shiny. It's kind of shiny. Not as shiny as the cell. We're okay. Yes, Nancy from The Craft is also in this. Not Nancy. The other one. Nancy's the one that goes crazy. Well, shit. I don't know. But she's in it. More chilling than The Exorcist, more haunting than The Sixth Sense. It will scare the hell out of you. All hell breaks loose when Arnold Schwarzenegger battles the ultimate evil in this chilling supernatural action thriller. When a burned-out former New York City cop named Jericho it was just Schwarzenegger, is assigned to security detail for a mysterious and foreboding stranger, Gabriel Bryan. Byron? It's Brian, right? Jericho thwarts an incredible assassination attempt. During the ensuing investigation, he and his partner, Kevin Pollak, save the life of the beautiful and terrified Christine York, Robin Tunney, whose destiny involves death, the devil, and the fate of mankind. Now it's up to Jericho to save the girl, the world, and his own soul as he comes face to face with his most powerful enemy ever. So, once again, I do remember this being at least worth a watch. It was entertaining to me, just to see how all the cards fell at the end of the day, It's kind of got some creepy parts, some scary parts, some action, thrilling, suspenseful parts, and it's got Schwarzenegger. So, I guess you can't go wrong there, correct? Apparently a lot of people thought you could, but I enjoyed it. It's kind of one of those, I usually, if people don't like it, that's the one that I end up liking. So, and a lot of people like, are the ones that I end up not really liking. So, but the last one we have here in my pile is a contemporary classic, and this definitely has a lot of fans, and it is Poltergeist. Ooh, Poltergeist. They've made so many of these movies now, and they remade it a few years ago. I know that. But, yeah, Ghost House movie. I mean, I don't feel like I even have to explain this one to anyone. But, yeah, they move into a house, ghosty things happen. They're trying to make a pool in their backyard, and it turns into a mud pit, and that's a bad thing. And there's an evil clown. Actually, a personal story from Poltergeist. I did see this at some point when I was a child, apparently. Because I remember the fucking clown. I remember the fucking clown. And because of that fucking clown, I never wanted a stuffed animal clown ever. Guess what somebody got me for my birthday? I can't remember who it was. I can't remember what birthday it was, but it was fucking stuffed animal clown. And I'm like, why would you do this to me? They didn't know. They didn't know that it would bother me so. But I don't remember. I kept it. I might have put it behind all the other stuffed animals, so that maybe at least it had a barrier and it was trapped in there and it couldn't get to me. Kind of like when you pull the covers over your head so that the monsters can't get you. You don't hold your foot out the side of the bed so the monsters can't get you or whatever. That might have been the way that I played it. I don't remember. But yeah, this is definitely classic horror movie right here. And the little lady who comes in, the little psychic who tries to pull the girl back to the world of the living and blah 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 blah, after she gets kidnapped and whatnot. And then there's a scary fucking tree that's, there's just, very classic horror movie. Definitely worth a watch. I seem to remember, did the second one follow the same family? I know I saw the second one, because the braces thing happened in the second one. I'm fairly certain. The braces thing did not happen in the first one. Um, I'm pretty sure that was the second one. And like I said, I can't remember how many of these movies exactly they made. But definitely the first one. Definitely the first one. Classic horror movie, you know, for me anyway, I suppose. For a lot of people, I feel like. And it's one that's definitely a classic, worth watching. Definitely entertaining and spooky and scary and creepy. Watch out for the mud pit. That's all I gotta say. And the fucking stuffed animal clown. Definitely. Mine never came to get me. It was like another personal story, since it's story time. There was something else somebody got me one year for Christmas. It was this little puppet. I think it was like a hobgoblin or something. It came in like a box that looked like a little cage. There was like supposedly iron bars at the front, but they were like made of plastic or whatever. And I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. You could, it was like a little puppet, and you could move its mouth, and then there were things in there for his eyes to like go back and forth. And I was like, yeah, this thing's cool. I liked it. It was cool. I did not know that it glowed in the dark. I was not aware of this. Even though it was not a stuffed animal, I took it to bed with me. So, it's Christmas Eve, and we've had a long day. We've had our little family get together, So I'm like half asleep, and I turn over, and here's this like fucking hobgoblin thing, like right in my face, and like it freaked me out. I like grabbed the thing and I flung my door open and I threw it down on the floor, and I'm like, I am not sleeping with that thing. And which is what most of us should say more often. Am I right? But I think I just kind of like stood there dazed for a minute and then like turned around and went back to sleep. I seem to remember, Mom in the other room maybe moving around presents, maybe helping Santa Claus along a little bit, because she like looked up and she like turned around and like stared at me. And I don't think I said anything else other than that. I just kind of like stood there for a minute and like rubbed my eyes, figure out what reality was, and then I just turned around and went back to sleep. And I kept it, because it was a cool little thing. I kept it for many years, but I don't believe I ever had it in my bed ever again. Or at least if I did, I was aware of what I was getting myself into. So, that's a little personal story time for me and my childhood terrors, I guess. Good times. Childhood trauma. Good times. But anyway, that is today's collection, including almost all of the fucking Puppet Master movies again. I told you I had quite a few copies of that. And that's the last one I think you'll ever see. The last one you'll ever see. But anyway, yes, I'm going to try to do one more video. I don't know for sure exactly how many horror movies I have left in there. There's a very specific reason I want to do one more video tomorrow. Maybe some of you can figure it out. Maybe not. But that's tomorrow. And this was today's. And I will see you for what I see you.